We ain't going nowhere. We're doing Stardew Valley and CumTown, guys. It's the Monday before Thanksgiving. What do you guys think about that? What do you think about it? Huh? Anyway. Anywho, let's get the pod going.
Will, Big Dick Will Menaker's back.
Yeah. Big thick dick.
We're starting this one off mid-conversation. Will Big Dick Will Menaker's back.
Yeah. Big thick dick.
Yeah. Wide dick. That's
thick
the alliteration.
Dick Billy. It's the girth.
Thick
that,
Dick Bill.
that counts.
Well, should go rhyming or alliteration? Should it be Wide Dick Will or?
It's Billy.
It's Billy?
Yeah, big thick dick Bill.
All right,
Billy.
Why Dick Billy, dude?
We got into a conversation. I was telling Will we were watching one of the holodeck episodes of Star Trek Next Generation last night.
With my sexy ass that Greek woman with the nice juicy
She's in
tits.
every episode.
Martina Sirtris?
Yeah.
Counselor Troy, you mean?
Hell yeah, dude.
He was not familiar with Counselor Troy.
No, dude. I missed a lot of that.
She is, she's the empath, so she gets to dress sexy and just be like a therapist for everyone.
Yeah, that's what I love is her character was created to explain empathy to the fucking autistic morons that watch Star Trek. They're like, what do you mean caring about other people? They're like, well, she's an alien. They're like, oh, I guess that
She
makes
has
sense.
an alien ability to discern people's moods and emotions. based on
Right. They had to create an otherworld character to explain
and
that.
she had to have juicy ass titties for them to pay attention to.
Well, that's what she used to feel their emotions.
Every Star Trek iteration has like the sexy woman.
Sure.
And they fucked up. I think we mentioned this on the show before, but when they did Voyager, they were like, we're not going to do that this time. We have a female captain. Torres is like kind of hot, but in like a spicy Latino way.
Yeah.
She's she's like the fucking hoop earring Klingon.
she's half Klingon on Voyager.
She's half Klingon.
Full Klingon, that'd be like,
Right.
that's too much.
Well, that's how her name is.
I always
B'Elanna
thought she was
Torres.
more like, Torres.
She's half Puerto Rican, half Klingon, which Jesus Christ.
Oh, boy.
You know what? Honestly, I think that might be real. I think there's women like that in the Bronx that are legitimately half Klingon.
They have
half
those
Puerto
fucked
Rican.
up foreheads.
Yeah.
They do honor killings.
I got a piece of warp drive. I don't have time for these.
No, but then the ratings are down, so then they just invented out of whole cloth the sexy robot, the Borg, the sexy Borg, 7
Jerry
of 9.
Ryan.
Yeah.
We've talked
They had
about
to add
her
her
too.
on, have
She's
like
so
the-
hot.
Which then,
She's insanely hot.
because she did so well for Voyager, they added her onto other shows on UPN. They had
Jerry
a guest
Ryan?
starring episode with Jerry Ryan on Sentinel.
She was on Boston Public too.
She was on Boston Public, but that was Fox.
She was on the Wayans Brothers show.
Yeah, they would add Jerry Ryan to other shows.
Slight digression. The actress Jerry Ryan
was married to the congressman.
She was married to a Republican congressman from Illinois, I think,
who took her to sex clubs.
Yes. They got divorced because he took her to like some sort of sex club in Paris and like made her do things she was uncomfortable
God
with.
damn, that sucks, Jerry. Jerry, if you're listening, I know you are. I'd never treat you that way.
Well,
she's probably so fine right
I love
now.
too that the way they stereotype the sexless Asian Ensign Kim into being like just falling over his dick for the robot character in that show.
But
Didn't
again,
you troll him on Twitter once?
I did. Yeah, I got into a big argument with Garrett Wang, the guy that plays Ensign Kim.
what?
Because I was explaining to him, I was like, well, I was like, I asked him, I was like, is Space China different than regular China? And he was like, what do you mean? I'm like, in the Star Trek universe, the Space China that Ensign Kim comes from. And he like dot-added me, and he's like, Ensign Kim is Korean, and I was like, he most certainly is not. I know for a fact that Ensign Kim is not a Korean character. Kim is a Korean name, but that's because the writers didn't give a shit and they just named the Chinese guy Kim. And he was like, Kim is a Korean surname. And I was like, again, the character's not. And then I went through YouTube and I actually found a video of Garrett Wang at a Star Trek convention panel explaining that Ensign Kim is Chinese and that the writers gave him the wrong name. And I was like, yeah, well, here's you fucking saying it.
That is such a good dunk.
He was like, What's your problem, man?
No, but honestly, he's right. What is
right.
your problem?
What the fuck?
Who does all that research to troll Ensign Kim or whatever his name
I
is?
just happen to know that about
Garrett
the show.
Wang.
Garrett Wang.
Yeah, fucking research.
Which, by the way, Garrett Wang,
Yeah.
hilarious name.
Yeah, no, I used to ask him about Gates McFadden and if she was like okay because her Twitter is pretty fucking crazy. She's a doll of herself as like Dr. Crusher.
Crusher.
that she plays with.
Crusher
Because
could get
she's
it
in
too.
video. It's
She's
so
fire.
bizarre. Yeah, she
Well,
was.
The original hook for this was how Star Trek, the writers of basically every one of the Star Trek series, like wrung so much out of the holodeck conceit,
Yeah,
and that like
absolutely.
at least every season there would be one all holodeck episode that were
Yeah.
always miserable, just terrible in every way.
They got this because they got lazy about writing space shit, so they were like, fuck it, let's just write Maltese Falcon. And the exit button got broken. So it's gonna, and you know what? It's lazy writing because all of the characters are these like god characters, where it doesn't matter how the story progresses because they always know they can leave the holodeck.
Right.
So they present like the conceit of this one was that there's some. Like a Jade Monkey or whatever that this mob boss needs, and Picard is like the private eye that has access to it. But they never have to address any part of that story because Picard's like, they think I have something they need. Isn't that funny?
Well, there was ones where
They're laughing when the guy gets shot.
Oh
They
yeah,
think it's
which by the
funny.
way they go, we've brought along our fiction officer, and it's like, so that guy's just gonna be dead at the end of the episode. You're never gonna see him again.
well, there was one where Data kept doing holodeck scenarios where he would play as like Sherlock Holmes or something. And again, this is sort of like a shout out to the show's fan base of like, using games to teach you about literature and real human life. But like it was like some conceit. The conceit of that episode is that like again they get stuck in the holodeck and they go through some sort of cosmic radiation, and it makes the Moriarty character self-aware and deadly, and like can actually kill you in the holodeck.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And again, just like don't have a holodeck.
Yeah.
yeah.
No, the only time it was actually useful, I think, was like on Voyager with the Tuvok Pon farr episode, where the Vulcans, they have to fuck. They can only fuck every 7 years, but they have to fuck or they die.
Or they just go, they just go insane.
Go
like,
crazy.
they just go fucking crazy. Like
That's
and
me.
yeah, so
is
like,
that like 7-year nut just builds up into their brain? And
Their balls must be so heavy on like year 6.
Wait, Tuvok was the black Vulcan?
So Vulcans are no fap. Save it till marriage.
Gorilla
They're
mindset.
autists
They're
for sure.
they're gorilla mindset guys, but then they have
Very
this built-in,
logical.
breaking point of 7 years because you can't be no fap that long. So,
I mean,
but in Voyager,
get that shit.
the idea behind the show is that they get trapped
Get
in
that
the
shit, bro.
Delta Quadrant, so they're so far away from anyone they've ever seen before, and so they hit the 7-year mark, and there's no one for Tuvok to fuck, so they have to just let him fuck in the holodeck. And I always like, because it's a room that it's a hologram, right? And then they have enough ability to manipulate the physics of the hologram so that you can touch the
have
hologram,
texture and
stuff.
Oh,
But
hell
anything
yeah.
that's
Hell yeah,
produced
dude.
in the hologram isn't made out of whatever substrate material that the hologram creates. So if all I'm saying is there's got to be just buckets of cum on the floor of the hologram.
Yeah.
The floors are caked over.
Like there's some like Starfleet ensign, like the Will Wheaton character, like part of his duty would be actually just like mopping down the holodeck. Like fucking Travis Bickle's cab.
Well, Will Wheaton's such a perfect good boy on the show that he actually lives solely off cum. He's a 100% clean celestial being.
He's a goody good boy.
In touch with the universe.
Now,
I like the idea that there's some kind of video feed without the hologram, so you just see the guy fucking in space, like in air, and you just see like his dick fucking pumping, and there's no pussy around it.
Yeah.
You just see I want to see that shit, dude. I want to see the feed, the uncut feed without the holograms.
Yeah.
Just wearing a Sherlock Holmes outfit.
He's still in costume with his dick out.
Yeah. No, and I love too that the dumb shit that they're obsessed with in the holodeck is always things that baby boomers like.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
the idea that in the year 2630 that Tom Paris on Voyager, he's always working on a Camaro. Like a 1970 Camaro. And then fucking...
That's sort of like the equivalent of nowadays, like, hobbyists build their own trebuchet.
Yeah,
or
right,
open
exactly.
a manuscript from
Yeah.
the fucking 15th century.
Right, no, but not only like being interested in it as a part of history, but because he's like, this thing, man, it's got fucking 240 horsepower at the wheels. And it's like
you're literally traveling faster than light to a different galaxy.
Yeah,
You're getting moon pussy left and right, my man. You care about fucking
horsepower.
Yeah.
Well, the one iteration of Star Trek that I thought sort of did the most, or at least acknowledged that the holodecks would mainly be used for pornography and just jacking off, is Deep Space Nine.
Yeah, Deep Space Nine is the only good Star
That's
Trek.
my favorite series. But like Quark's bar, he's always like renting out the holodeck, but it's clear that he's just like a sleazy fleshmonger or whatever.
Oh, the Ferengis are Jewish.
Yeah.
It took them a while to just be like, let's just do a Jewish character. And then they went all out. Like, the nose would be too obvious. So give
we're
them
gonna have
giant ears.
big
I don't know about that.
Oh, fuck.
Anything can be had for a price. Gold press latinum.
They're so ghoulish.
Oh yeah, they were into coins and
They
stuff.
loved gold coins.
Yeah.
Seriously, no, they really they were obsessed with gold
Guilt?
coins. Yeah.
They play. You do a spinning top game to win the gold
The
coins.
sexy girl on DS9 was like Dax was like pretty moderate. And she was probably the hottest of all the Star Trek women.
Dax?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah,
I
and
don't
the
remember
captain
Dax.
was Obama.
Yeah, the captain was Obama, and who was old friends with Dax, so they had this weird homosexual relationship.
Well, the conceit with Dax is that she is like a hybrid of like
symbiont.
like she like looks like basically like a human woman with some like freckles on the side, but her body is host to this like alien worm that contains the memories of all of its past hosts.
Yeah.
So she's like an amalgam of like 10 or 12 different people's life experiences.
And Cisco was boys with whoever that worm infected life.
Oh shit!
So basically Dax is a woman that got herpes from Cisco's friend from college. And he's like, "Good to see you, old man."
He calls her
Kiss
old
those
man all the
sores,
time.
Old
Yeah.
man is
Does
her
that
nickname.
mean she knows how to fuck so good? She knows how to fuck
'cause
like 10 people.
Yeah, exactly.
Dick,
She's
so
had,
she
like-
knows how to suck one.
Guys know what guys like.
That's why it's
Dude's
called Deep
nice.
Space Nine.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Dick's
Back
like
walls 9.
We said
All the
back
way
walls
in.
9. Oh fuck! We definitely said Dick Suck 9 the first time we talked about DS9.
What's a good show? I was like, I didn't know that Odo. I found out recently because I don't remember seeing it on the show that he just sleeps in a bucket.
Yeah.
He just turns back into like a bucket of cum.
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah,
Which
dude.
is so disgusting.
Yeah.
My girlfriend's watching some fucking show that's like horny Harry Potter right now. Some show called The Magicians.
Okay.
Hell yeah, dude.
And I've been like in it because I don't give a shit about any of that. But it's like, it's fucking. They're like, it's some fucking kid with his stupid emo haircut, and then he finds out he's a wizard for real. Literally, they just stole.
Yeah, I know.
know, but he's like 19 or whatever. He's got an emo haircut and a messenger bag and like a fucking colorful tie. Like a.
He rides a longboard to work.
Yeah. And I guess I caught an episode she was watching the other day, and she's like, well, now they're in the magical world from the books. And it's like, okay, I guess it's very similar to Harry Potter. They're all the same thing. But then they visit this like goat character, this homosexual goat character.
Like a pan figure.
A pan figure that's supposed to be a god that created this magic world. And I'm like half paying attention. And he hands a cup of his cum.
What?
To the magicians. I'm like, is that just his cum? She's like, yeah. She's like, it like makes sense in the story.
What?
Like,
Do they all just have to take a sip or something?
they give it to the fucking girl who's supposed to be the hero, and she has to drink his cum.
What?
Yeah.
It's literally his cum. He beats off
dude,
into
they
a cup.
fucking had the props department create a jar of cum.
It looks like cum?
Yes, it looks like cum, and she has to drink the jar of cum.
But it's magic, so it tastes like frosting.
Yeah. And it's like supposed
That's
to be
what my
like
cum
Buffy the
tastes like.
Vampire Slayer, but there's a cum drinking element, which I guess you were supposed to assume that British scientist that was helping Buffy was doing anyway.
Yeah. He was sneaking his cum in, like that dentist. That one
Definitely.
dentist.
Sorry I didn't answer the phone. I was busy reading about a demon from 500 years ago.
Apply this to your skin.
No, actually, I never got into Buffy.
I really don't give a shit about Joss Whedon at all.
Yeah, me neither.
I never watched it.
But I wasn't really into Buffy, but that guy Angel, the woman he fucked,
David
Charisma Carpenter.
Boreanaz?
David Boreanaz is Angel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but his
I call
girlfriend.
him David Boring Anus.
Hey.
My man got a born ass. Look at it. Ain't got no wrinkles. Looks like a little Cheerio.
That's kind of a cute ass.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound boring at all, honestly. You could have some fun with that ass. No, Charisma Carpenter, who played someone in that shit. Oh boy, did I beat off to her. Big motherfucking
In
time.
Angle?
She was unbelievable.
Well, Allison Hennigan became hot from American Pie because for some reason everyone interpreted that in
the
real
flute
life
girl?
she put a flute in her pussy.
Yeah.
Which does not make you hot. I don't
No, it makes you weird. It makes you weird as shit.
I don't know. I think that's pretty cool.
Would I imagine that's very pleasurable?
No,
even
it's
if you're
all
a woman.
knobby
Like,
and
it's
shit.
just like it's all fucking like it's this
buttons?
cold piece of metal that's like thin and covered in
Go to
buttons.
Spencer's, get a dildo. They're all over the place.
Maybe you stuck a flute in your asshole. Maybe that would be a little bit tight. You know,
How did it feel?
Well, I just
Adam?
love that Jason
When you
Isles'
face it.
character in that movie is like, wait, you have a pussy?
Yeah.
That movie sucked.
That movie does. Also,
Very bad.
What's the? Because he tries to fuck the hot girl, but he comes too quick.
Yeah.
Or he can't
Yeah.
get hard. What is it?
He
just
comes
busts
Ann and
like
Elizabeth?
immediately.
he comes in his
That's
pants.
a win, as far as I'm concerned.
That's sex.
He fucked her.
He comes
Yes.
in his pants on Skype in front of his whole school. Which
First of all-
that technology did not exist. Back then.
Yeah,
It
definitely-
barely works now. And they're like, yeah, he's video conferencing with the entire school.
Also, why would you ever do that? You're about to fuck for the first
Yeah.
time.
Well, that's like a Return of Kings thing. They say you should videotape all your sexual encounters.
What?
In case a woman accuses you of rape.
Oh, so like in case a woman, just to prevent a woman from falsely accusing you of rape, just videotape her without your consent.
Well, I just love the
computer
idea.
raper.
Sexless men with fucking 19 security cameras all pointing at their bed in their mom's apartment. You know, they're like, the mom's like, oh, Richard, why is the electricity bill so high this month? It's like, Mom, leave my cameras alone.
I remember one
This is to
time.
protect the both of us.
I only fuck in a panic room.
Yeah. Well, I make the woman sign a charter written in cursive and sealed with blood, wax at the end.
I remember one time I was looking for weed in my college. It was like one of those terrible college houses that just 8 people lived in. It was just you
Yeah.
go in and out or whatever. I just barged into my friend's room and I just found. I was looking for weed on his desk and shit, and he had like one of those books, like a hollow book.
Yeah.
And there was a fucking video camera pointing to his fucking bed. It was like, this guy definitely. It was like one of those when they record a babysitter without their knowledge. Like,
Yeah,
this guy
nanny
was,
cam.
This guy was
I would
definitely
never want to watch myself fuck.
God no.
Oh, it's
Oh,
God
terrible.
no.
I would love to. I would love to see what I got in the mix. You know?
You have nothing,
Dude, I got nice
You would
moves.
videotape it, and you would never get hard again.
Dude,
As
first of
soon
all,
as you saw the lack of movement, just your fucking fat ass.
I fuck with
dimpling
heart.
and undimpling.
I have a beautiful ass, number one, especially for a fat man. But I think I would surprise you with the tenacity with which I fuck, the heart. You know, I'm a scrapper. I know I'm not fucking.
You've got coachability.
I've got coach. I definitely have coachability. I'll do whatever needs to
this
get
is-
done.
It would look like your thighs were trying to give your stomach the Heimlich maneuver.
Dude, my
That's
thighs
what it
are
would
more.
look like from
Look at
behind.
this shit, dude. Look at this muscles, dude.
I don't know if that's muscle.
You'd play back the
You
video,
can't feel
and
this.
then it would be like computer
Feel this.
enhance,
Yeah.
and then like you'd see the woman checking her phone or something.
Adam. Yeah.
No, it'd be like
She's
a
just rolling her
computer
eyes.
enhance. Oh, unenhance, unenhance. De-enhance the image. Computer delete all
You
files
can see her
immediately.
texting her friends.
Adam, like I think it's the same to what Adam. I've talked to you about one of our favorite Instagram guys. What is it? The Nick 420
Oh, yeah,
California.
yeah, yeah.
The
Oh,
guy
that
who
guy's
like
Nick
awesome.
Weed. Yeah.
Nick Weed, yeah, the guy who just like literally does an Instagram video of him like smoking weed every fucking day.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was just like I would like it's the same thing. Like
Yeah.
if you showed me video like of every time I did drugs,
Oh,
I would
yeah.
like kill myself or go straight to rehab.
Absolutely, dude. I remember when my friends started skateboarding when we were like fucking like 11 or 12, and then my friend got like a video camera and was like, "Yo, we go. Oh,
Let's do
fucking-
Jackass.
skate
Let's
video."
let's shoot ourselves skateboarding," and it's like, I'm gonna go home. Yeah, just fucking like how the lack of coordination,
Ollies,
the
yeah.
fact that you can like ollie down 3 stairs,
Yeah.
It
Ollie
looks
onto a
badass.
curb, like-
right? Yeah, dude, not you just falling down stairs with a piece of wood underneath you.
I that's exactly what happened to me. I was playing basketball and like I was like part of the Greek Orthodox Youth of America basketball league.
Do you play on carpet court?
Yeah, literally in my gym at the fucking church it was like bullshit carpet. But I was at this fucking tournament and I stuffed some kid and I was like, oh my god, and my mom just happened to be there with a fucking video camera. I was like, this is gonna be fucking awesome. I just imagined myself like fucking getting 4 feet off the ground and just like spiking it in this fucking kid's face. And it was literally like I was a centimeter off the ground. The kid was like 5'3". You know, there was nothing impressive about it whatsoever.
Yeah.
Maybe you guys are onto something. If I watched myself fuck, it would probably be.
It would be so
It's
sexual
terrible.
equivalent
Yeah,
of
I mean,
that.
I do a bit about watching myself eat pussy, and it's the absolute worst thing in the entire world.
I'd like
Because
to
I'm-
watch myself eat pussy.
No,
like
it's
I'm watching
not fun.
games.
How did you accomplish that?
Because, well, I was filming her going down on me, and then I started going down on her, and I didn't have like the dexterity to film and eat puss.
You didn't have.
So you just gave her the camera?
So she took the camera, and then I just watched myself just like so emotionally eating a pussy. Just like there was so much earnestness and like love in the way that I was eating her pussy, and it was just like to see myself that vulnerable.
I-
really
From
was-
that perspective, it probably looked like you were nuzzling your face into Dan Hidea's back. Or something.
When I look like a fucking like a board secretary pinching a phone in between their cheek and their shoulder. No, sir, we're out of stock. No,
But,
they won't be in stock. I don't know when they're going to be back in stock, sir.
But that's because you don't enjoy fucking, dude.
Yeah, I don't enjoy anything though.
Exactly. That's what I mean. You have no joy in your
That's
life.
true.
That's why. I think I would. That's
The
part
medical term for that is being really fucking cool. Being too cool for
It's
school.
true, yeah.
But stop back to your friend who was surreptitiously videotaping himself having sex with women. Which is a crime.
Totally. No, I don't
But-
like that guy at all. I was trying to steal
Yeah.
his weed. For the record, he
but
was
like
barely a friend.
the sort of obsession with guys
Is that-
filming themselves.
Is that a crime?
Yeah, for
So,
sure.
yeah, for sure. Yeah.
To record
Because-
someone
well,
without
it's-
their permission.
Well, you can do it in public. Because it's like an expectation of privacy. Like if you go outside and just start taping somebody on the street, that's
Yeah.
illegal.
I think
Yeah.
basically filming you having sex with a woman without her consent is
Yeah.
basically assault. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
Also, there's
Well,
no.
I'm saying I believe it's fucked up to do
Yeah.
that. I don't know if it's illegal or not.
I think
I'm
it's
pretty
illegal,
sure it
for
is.
sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the obsession with like guys who are obsessed with like recording themselves having sex, and I'm wondering if you guys have seen one of my favorite films of all time, Autofocus.
Oh yeah, for
the
sure.
Bob Crane story.
I've seen it. Yeah.
Dude, it's
No.
okay. It's directed by Paul Schrader, and it stars Greg Kinnear and Willem
Hell
Dafoe
yes. Hell yes.
in a 100% true story of the life and times of Hogan's Heroes star Bob Crane and his descent
yes.
into sex-addicted madness and like swinging and like this is at the very dawn of like videotape technology and
Right.
shit, and he just became like obsessed with filming himself and like recording
Really?
and photographing himself having sex with
Holy
like hundreds of different
shit.
women in this weird like homoerotic codependent relationship with this guy who
Yep.
is his best friend who eventually
Really?
killed
Now,
him.
Holy
Spoiler
fuck.
alert.
You
yeah.
say that shit, and it's like I kind of want that for myself.
Really?
Yeah.
a homosexual codependent
a
relationship?
weird borderline homosexual relationship with an additional heterosexual
Component,
deviancy element to it. Yeah, where it's all just convoluted and the emotions are, questionable.
The
morality is as well. That's what I want for myself. I also kind of like the idea of the other person murdering me.
The best scene in the movie though is that they're like reliving their exploits or whatever, and they're like watching it like on his TV through like some ancient video camera, and they're just like fucking a bunch of women, and they're just like bodies everywhere, and then this is sort of early on in the relationship of them doing this shit. And Greg Kinnear, the Bob Crane character, is like, wait, what the what's that? Wait, Paul, stop, set the tape for a second. And he just, whose finger is that in my ass? And then the Willem Dafoe character goes, that was me. And he goes, what the fuck, man? And he just goes, Bob, it was a group grope. Come on.
A fucking group grope.
Yeah, that's the Will Menaker movie recommendation for this
That's
episode.
so good.
Autofocus, directed by Paul Schrader.
Did they ever fuck him? The gay was that as gay as it
No, but
got?
like they would just
Willem
like,
Dafoe wanted to fuck him though.
yeah, definitely, and they would just like jack off watching each other fuck other people like on
Nice.
video and stuff. So
Interesting.
again,
yeah,
it's all a gray area. It's all
Yeah, it's better if it's subtext.
Yeah.
Have you seen John Wick 2 yet?
I have.
Is it good?
Yeah, thanks, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I want to see it, dude.
it was a very satisfying sequel.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude.
Do you
Can't
feel
wait.
like because you have the dog, you appreciate it more?
Dude, before I watched I rewatched the first John Wick like the other week, and I hadn't seen it since getting a dog, and I gotta say that shit was even more
Me too.
fucking lit, man.
I'm in the
It
same
makes
boat.
it so much more satisfying because like, I mean, the plot of the first John Wick is so beautiful. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Beautiful.
it's like some asshole kills his dog.
Well,
and
my wife
and in
died.
return, he literally kills 100 people.
My wife died before that movie came out.
Whoa, so you
Remember that?
really
Do you guys
appreciate
remember
it
my
most.
wife?
I do
Remember
remember
that
Yeah.
dumb bitch I married for like 3 weeks?
Yeah,
It was
And she
funny.
died.
He's so much more upset about the dog.
Oh, yeah. Well, I used to live next to, when I growing up, I lived next door to a Vietnam vet who had this fucking van, this shitty, like, late 70s Dodge van. And on the back, it just had a sticker that said, wife and dog missing, reward for dog.
Nice.
And I remember having to have my like
Jesus
father
Christ.
explain that joke to me, because as like a fucking spectrum-ass 8-year-old, I'm like, but I don't understand why there would be a reward for the dog and not the wife. My dad's saying because, you know, he values the dog more than his wife. I'm like, but that doesn't make any sense. He's like, well, that's the joke, son. He said women are trash. I'm like,
Or like
oh.
the biker patch that is like, if you can read this, the bitch fell off.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that guy was a biker too.
Of course he was.
Yeah,
dude.
I remember him like being one time because my memory of him from my childhood is just a pair of aviators surrounded by gray hair. Just his big, huge beard, and he used to keep jars of piss in the garage, and he had a fucking
Hell yeah.
stingray that was always underneath like a car cover.
When were you in his garage?
Well, they had a kid, so I mean,
Oh,
like,
okay.
you know, who I wasn't really friends with, but
you would
know,
have been-
I
yeah,
went
once
over
in a
there, yeah, a
while.
couple times.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember him one day being like, "Oh, I'm gonna take you ride on my motorcycle," and I went home and like asked my dad, I'm like, "Can I go ride on their motorcycle?" My dad's like, "No,
Yeah, of course not.
no,
Pretty
you know, like,
crazy.
he's a man, like,
Yeah. Yeah, just take you somewhere I don't know where.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
alone with this weirdo.
yeah,
So you could suck your dick on a little motorcycle.
yeah."
You know, it's people videotape
That guy
themselves
used
is
to beat
weird.
his wife. We used to hear them like fighting
Oh,
because they
nice,
were like
dude.
back porch faced the front of our house.
Hell
You could
yeah.
hear him just like 9 o'clock in the morning, fucking beer cans hitting the recycling bin.
And that is where you do a
Screaming
lot of
at it.
wife hitting is the back porch.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
The back porch is the
Well, that's why
venue
you
for
build a deck, dude.
it. Yeah.
And you build a deck instead of a family.
It's always weird to me when people like okay they videotape themselves fucking, but people that why are there so many people that videotape women going to the bathroom?
That was the Chuck Berry's big thing.
That
He had a whole
shit's
chain
so
of
weird.
restaurants that were literally just a front to him videotape women.
Chuck Berry,
going
the
to
guitar
toilet.
guy?
Oh yeah, the
Yeah.
rock and roll
Yeah,
godfather.
he's the most famous
yeah.
guy, but a
Yeah.
lot of people do that shit, dude.
There should be a scene where it's fucking Marty McFly videotaping a woman.
You're not gonna believe this. By the way, that scene in Back to the Future, very racist because it once again implies that white
yeah.
people invented rock
White
and
people
roll.
Yeah,
invented
yeah,
rock
yeah.
and roll.
Well,
Which
that's why
they
he went
did.
back to the future.
Yeah.
I mean, he went back in time to steal rock and roll for whites.
Yeah. No, I love that scene specifically for that reason because it's such a fuck you.
yeah,
It's so fucking mean.
some suburban nerd.
Yeah, Chuck Berry got done for that, man. Like he had a whole chain of restaurants that were just literally just so he could have a hidden camera in the women's
That's
bathroom.
incredible.
Man.
I don't
and he
know-
had like a whole fucking like library.
All the permits you had to get.
Yeah, like
that
a
guy
whole
loved watching
library
women
of, like,
shit.
videotapes, man. It's
You know how much work that is to watch women
bizarre.
shit?
Yeah.
I don't know. This is only sort of related. And I've
love
I've
seeing a
never
woman
fact
take a
checked
dump,
this,
dude.
but there was a Johnny Rockets in DC, and my friend Brendan was telling me about that. They got in trouble because the manager there, a black woman, like came in and applied for a job at Johnny Rockets, and like the dipshit fast food manager was like, Well, it wouldn't really fit the theme if, like a black lady was working here.
Of the 1950s?
Yeah, Johnny
Oh,
Rock.
right, like Johnny Rock. They're like
Yeah,
sort of
it's like
throwback
a
diner,
50s,
like rockabilly kind of thing.
Yeah. And so,
Oh my god.
huge lawsuit.
Yeah, that's incredibly illegal.
And then, like 3 years later, the guy did it again, or a different guy at the restaurant did the same thing. They
Hell
got
yeah.
hit with like another discrimination lawsuit.
So awesome.
Because they're like, we're not allowed to say we can't hire you, but like we can hire you.
I'm imagining that same conversation happening at Colonial Williamsburg.
Well, there is one job. The pay's not great.
No, there is a position.
You know that Eric Andre bit about Colonial Williamsburg?
So fucking funny.
Yeah, it's
No,
so good.
Colonial Williamsburg, it's really fucking boring.
Oh no, he did the Civil War. He would go through Civil War reenactments
As a slave.
as
Yeah.
an
As an escaped slave.
That was a great. Bit.
I told you guys, right? Have I mentioned on the pod when I went to Gettysburg for the 150th?
Get
Yeah, I remember
Gettysburg.
you told me you went to Gettysburg, and my joke question follow up was like, "Did you go on ecstasy?" And then you were like, "Yeah."
Yeah, I
You
went
remember
on.
that?
Yeah.
And then
You took E and went to like the most
Oh, yeah.
hallowed battleground in American
Yeah,
history.
I went with
That must
my
have been-
ex-girlfriend
Oh, yeah, you've told
and
us
her husband now.
now husband.
Now husband.
Did you see that
By the way-
animatronic, like
Gettysburg
fucking,
Address.
like General Lee thing that they have? They have like this weird room. It's like a theater with this like animatronic play that happens.
Oh no,
It's like
yeah.
the Disney's Hall of Presidents or whatever.
Yeah.
By the way,
So-
we're recording this on President's Day. Shout out to all the presidents.
What I love about
Oh, yeah,
Gettysburg is
especially
that like
the
it
current
was
one.
a decisive victory for the Union, but if you go to modern day Gettysburg, it's like, oh yeah, the South definitely won. There's nothing but fucking rednecks that love the trucks and the Confederate flag. And
and fireworks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's how
they
I feel
love
about-
fireworks.
Nice.
That's how I feel about the
What is
Vietnam War.
this?
It's like, yeah, we lost, but who's cleaning who's
Whoa,
fat
what the
lady's
fuck
feet
is
now?
happening here?
You know what I mean? It's like,
Holy shit. Oh, Star Drop. Your mind is filled with thoughts of cake. Your maximum energy level is increased. That's fucking awesome. Fucking fish in a lake of fire.
the Vietnamese.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
yeah.
Anyway, but I was on drugs there. We were walking around, and there was like, it's obviously you see the fucking Confederates, and it's like, if you're gonna bring your fucking whole family, dress them all up in Confederate uniforms, including like your 5-year-old kids, like, you just hate black people.
Yeah.
You just hate.
There's
like,
no way you're very open-minded.
Yeah. It's like
Shit
it's
like that.
fucking. It's
Literally,
accurate, dude.
The only reason.
Meanwhile, Adam is like, this Confederate flag feels so good.
I was walking
What's
around.
the thread count on this
It was
flag?
so fucking hot outside. It was the 150th anniversary. It was 4th of July because the Gettysburg battle happened on over 4 days. But it was over 4th of July.
At the gift shops in Gettysburg, they sell like the little Union soldier hats and the Confederate soldier hats,
yeah.
and they sell the old like fucking Civil War era stars and stripes, which is the fucking the
Circle.
Yeah.
shit, and then they also sell Confederate flags, which are not historically accurate. Like that
The
was
Stars and Bars.
yeah, there was the battle flag of Northern Virginia, which looked like the stars and bars, except it was a square. 'cause it was a battle flag.
Yeah.
But the Confederacy had like a bunch of different flags, but that one was that's culturally they decided this is the flag of the South.
Interesting.
Leonard Skinner did that.
Yeah. Well, they have that everywhere, but I thought it would be
so
so funny to like just go to one of those gift shops and when someone's not looking, just put a stack of big like Nazi swastika Third Reich flags
Just see how
in
many.
there for sale and put some price tags on them and see how long it would take before someone's like, I don't think these are supposed to be in the store.
I guarantee you they'd move a few of those.
Oh, of course they
yeah.
would. Yeah, that was a part of the Civil War. My favorite flag I've ever seen is the one that I saw. I can't remember where I saw it, but it's a Confederate flag. The Leonard Skinner fucking Dukes of Hazzard flag. But then there's a swastika in the middle of it.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
It's like, hell yeah, dude, crank it to 11.
Hell yeah.
My favorite shit is the on Eastbound and Down where he has the Confederate flag.
boogie board.
Weed boogie board.
Hell yeah, Myrtle Beach.
Like
dude.
I want that. I want that so bad. That's so funny. I'm like, all right, fine. Confederate flags are fine if they all have weed in them.
I want Confederate flag. I want Calvin pissing. I want Tasmanian devil. I want weed flag. What's really funny is if you I Googled this one time because I was like, this would be hilarious, but I was like, what if there's like a gay Confederate flag, like the rainbow, with the stars and bars, and then if you Google it, it's someone made it already.
Yeah, of course.
Someone did that bit already. Anyway, but when we were on ecstasy, it was so hot, we were like sweating. We're like, this was a terrible idea. And they're like, let's go over to those woods, like on the far side of the battlefield for some like tree cover so we could like rest up. So we go there, and that's where like all the Union cavalry was with all their horses. And they were like just like getting the horses some shade because it was so oppressively hot. And in the middle of it, there's like a black family, and they were all just like clearly not sanctioned by the reenactors. They were just wearing bonnets and stuff, and they like just like made a campfire. They were like barbecuing and stuff. And we were talking to this guy who's like one of the cavalry guys. He's like, they're not supposed to be here. And I was like, well, technically you should think about what, the poetic, aspect of you complaining about, them.
I just like the idea of like, it's blazing hot out, you're tripping balls, and you're like, this is a bad idea, let's go get some shade, and then you end up on like Little Big Top where like 5,000 people died. Excellent energy.
Why were you doing that?
Well, yeah, and that's what I was going to say.
Stupid,
Gettysburg is such a boring tourist destination because it is just fields. It's fields.
Yeah, it's just a big open field.
It's just a big bunch of open fucking fields, and then a couple of shitty gift shops, and it's like the only reason to go is if you think ghosts are real. Which they're not.
Well, to see the reenactment, it's pretty insane.
I've never seen a reenactment.
Yeah.
See,
They were like
cool.
There were like tens of thousands of people there. There was like people from Spain.
Yay, dude.
There were
Are you
people from
kidding me?
Spain there in like Confederate outfits, and they were like, "Yeah, we're here for the
because
Confederacy."
we always need to find new uses for our swords. Because Spain does not have enough uses for their swords anymore.
Yeah, I'm like, you're from Spain, and you came here to be in the Confederacy. He's like, yes, they're with the Spanish people who fought for the Confederacy. So we like came from.
Spaniards are fucking racist, dude.
Are they?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, dude. In Real Madrid games, they would fucking throw.
Oh yeah, bananas.
They would throw bananas at Eto'o. Remember, like they would just fucking.
There was
and it's still going on.
a Spaniard in my like 8th grade class, and he was like, he sat next to me. I remember talking to him one time. I was like, "Do you like miss Spain, or like how are you adjusting?" Because you'd only been in the country for like a year or whatever. And he was like, "Yeah, Spain's a lot better than America." And I was like, "Well, in what ways?" He's like, "Well, it's not contaminated like America is." I'm like, "What do you mean, like the water?" Or
Yeah.
He's talking about
the racial
he was
purity.
like, well, I mean, like everyone in Spain is like Spanish. They're the right race. And I was like, you're 12 years old.
Dude. Europe is so
Spain
racist.
used to be so good, dude. They owned so much shit, and now they suck.
Yeah.
What was it?
The
They-
Spanish
Yeah,
Armada.
they did used to be good when Franco was in charge.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah,
so good. How did they fuck that up? Back
Was
when
it-
like,
No, but they had to run right before Britain, and everyone had to run, right?
They had a
huge
run.
run.
Yeah.
Like,
They had all
Yeah, the
South
conquistadors
America.
and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, they like fucking
They were getting
conquered
their-
the New World. They were really good
we were
at
laughing
sailing.
on the other podcast about Ponce de Leon and how he was Puerto Rican, and just imagining Ponce de Leon as like a modern day Puerto Rican.
I think it might sound a little.
Yeah, something like that.
They should get Al Pacino to play Ponce de Leon to do his Spanish
Well, his carriage
accent.
just has like his name written in fucking old English. We're going to have berets every single day.
A fucking little Guadalupe on the dashboard.
Yeah. They love parades. Those folks.
I'm talking about European racist. It's so weird. Have I talked about how the stereotype of black people in Greece is that they all like to fuck men in the ass? That for some reason that's the fucking.
I thought that was the stereotype about Greek people.
Yeah, I know. Maybe we flipped it. I don't know.
Maybe
why.
it's because like that's just how racism works, and like everybody shits on Greek people, and they're like, yeah, they just fuck each other in the ass. And then if you're in Greek, you just need to like think that about black people.
Yeah.
You think they're even lower than you.
Yeah, it's so-
black people.
Yeah.
And they all sell bootleg CDs, which is actually true. That there's a lot of Africans that sell bootleg CDs in Greece. Or at least that was a booming business when I was like 11 and I was still over there.
Lloyd Banks, Young Buck, and 50 Cent.
It's weird.
I don't know if you guys, speaking of again European racism.
Yeah, let's get into it.
Did you guys see the shit this morning from the Prison Planet guy?
the Sweden?
About Sweden. This whole thing about how. Like Donald Trump said
It was
this
an
thing.
extension of the Fox report that
Yes,
Trump was.
yes.
Okay.
And what he was doing is he was like, I will pay like, you know, any leftist journalist who's like making fun of Sweden to like go live in Malmo, like the most dangerous city in Europe, and like be hosted by these people. And he just like took some screenshots. So clearly he just did a Google image search for like thugs, Sweden.
Yeah.
And like one of the pictures is literally just like some teens on a corner, like looking like just they would ask you for a cigarette. It was like the least threatening thing imaginable. Like there's like some kids in like a scrawny kids in like track pants, just sullen on a street corner.
I didn't see that.
I love that. Racists are such pussies.
Have you seen any of
That's the basis
The guy
of
from that
racism.
Fox News article, though, the one that Trump like was basically citing.
It's Tucker Carlson, I thought.
Well, no, it was because it was on Tucker Carlson's show, but the report was from Ami Horowitz, who has these videos where he like he'll be like, I'm here in Times Square talking to fucking white liberals or whatever, and he finds like one girl that's like, yeah, I think voter ID laws are racist because it affects black people's ability to vote or whatever. He's like, let's see how black people feel about that. And he's like, well, I'm here now in Harlem, and he's like, oh, you're a black person. Do you think it's racist that you should be allowed to vote? And be like, no. And they'll be like, well, liberals think it is.
By the way, here are the teens.
Oh, wow.
That shit is so funny, dude.
I don't know. They do look kind of threatening. This one guy's got Liberty spikes. There's graffiti there.
Those aren't Muslims.
Hold on, dude. This is like 3 different types of teens. How are these guys hanging out? This could look more staged. It's a guy with a...
It's
with
a Breakfast Club
no,
type
it's a fucking
situation.
Hot Topic guy, a Dundalk Yo Boy.
Hell yeah, dude.
And then a fucking crust punk.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
no. This is the kind of cultural mixing that I can't support. Is why the crust punk would be hanging out with the fucking tough guy from Degrassi.
Yeah, different kinds of cliques.
Yeah,
That
I'm
shit's
against
Wait,
funny
are
as
these
hell.
guys even Muslim?
yeah. I mean,
Well, one of the pictures he used is like a guy pulling up his shirt and had like tattoos on his stomach, but you can literally see him wearing a rosary.
Oh, fuck. Speaking of, you guys said
Well, how do you know
Carlson.
they weren't anal beads?
That's true.
Because they were on his neck and
they
not
could
coming
be
out of his ass.
They could be the massive influx of homosexuals.
That's where I like to store them. I like the smell around my neck.
I will pay you $1 million to hang out with this punker from Syria. Wait, this is crazy. Look at this shit.
Will
man.
that guy actually pay for anyone, dude?
No,
Let's
of course
go.
not.
Oh yeah,
His
that
avatar is hilarious.
is a weird mix.
on Twitter.
Anyway, what's up with Tucker Carlson? He just wears bow ties and that's his thing.
Didn't he stop wearing the bow ties?
Yeah, I think he
Yeah.
switched that up. I think
The
it
bow
used to be his
ties.
thing.
That was his branding 10 years ago.
That's how he broke into the business.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'm gonna be the bow
because
tie
he was
guy.
like a younger conservative.
Want sexual
right?
colors?
To find a guy under the age 25 that's willing to be like, actually, black people are stupid. It's a rarity.
right.
And he wear bow ties, and that's how he got.
And then
bow ties are trustworthy. It's he took it from Bill Nye, I think.
Did that guy Horowitz, was he the guy that did the Chinatown video for Bill,
that was
Bill O'Reilly?
Jesse Waters, who's
Yeah.
like that's like Bill O'Reilly's
That guy is
sidekick.
such a piece of shit.
No,
Yeah.
I've seen a couple of like Ami Horowitz. All my suggested YouTube videos are like,
a sewer, I'm sure.
it's all Sam Hyde videos, and then like Trey Gowdy destroys rape victim.
Jesus Christ, that's so good.
Dude, Trey Gowdy videos are the fucking best. Those are my favorite.
He's the guy that ran away
He
from
looks
the
so
town hall.
uncanny.
He looks weird, dude. He looks like but we talked about it. Him and Kasich have this weird thing where they have like the like facial. They look like a boy. They look like Billy Quiz Boy.
Right.
Not like him, but whatever the Billy Quiz Boy's problem is. Where they just have some sort of like aging deficiency.
Yeah,
where they
yeah.
look like a 4-year-old just sped up time. And suddenly they're
progeria.
yeah, 65 years old. But yeah, the Trey guy, it's always like he'll have like some immigration activists that are like, these people just need to have a job and a place to live. And he's like, okay, what about Sandra Williamson? She's like, what are you talking about? He's like, well, she was raped and murdered by an illegal immigrant. And we actually have her rape kit here, and we're going to pass it around. I want everybody to smell this rape kit. It's about her dreams.
Fucking Christ.
Look at
It's
this
about her
picture.
dreams and aspirations.
Oh fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, he looks terrible.
Yeah.
Wow.
Actually, well, for how old he is, he doesn't look bad. It's,
How old is he?
he's probably like 55.
Look at this haircut.
Yeah.
This is awful.
That's the problem, is he doesn't know how to get haircuts, and Kasich is the same thing, where Kasich has like a 8-year-old boy's haircut.
I think he looks cute. What's Kasich up to? Is he still governor now?
I don't know. He's fucking quietly asking everyone to be reasonable. And,
Fuck, dude.
I was going to bring this up back when we were still talking about people videotaping them having cells, having sex.
Please.
It's just still in my head. But, you know, if you're like me, you've been, you know, I've been checking out a lot of sort of like amateur like swinger porn recently. You know,
Okay.
I've been on that tip. You
Amateur
know?
what?
Like swinger porn.
Swinger,
of like,
okay.
Of like, you know, like regular husbands and wives. Who
Yeah,
just, like,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
have orgies or
Sure.
like, you know, whore their wife out or something like that.
Yes.
I just got to say, if you do that, that's cool. I enjoy it, but turn the TV off. I can't tell you how many of these videos I've watched where it's like some guy's wife getting spit roasted, but in the background you can literally hear like the 11 o'clock local news going on. And clean your
so
living
good.
room too, people.
Yeah.
Come on. I'm just putting that out as a PSA.
Little clutter.
on CumTown
I
right
feel like
now.
the
I
lighting's
think
bad on
the
a lot of
message
those,
is going to
too.
get out.
yeah. Swinging seems like a bad idea to me.
Oh, terrible.
Just don't be in a relationship.
Well, wait, you guys were the ones who were saying, you said on the podcast once that you wouldn't mind if people fucked your
I
girlfriend.
wouldn't mind.
That's
I wouldn't
there's a
give a
difference
shit. That's
between
different
that
than-
and swinging.
Yeah, right. Inviting a bunch of strangers over to your
A
apartment.
bunch of horny strangers
so
to come
you
over.
and
Out
your
of
fucking
shape.
low T friends
Yeah.
can get together because you're somehow not cool enough to join a bowling league. So you have to
So you
fuck
have to
each
use
other's
your wife's
wives. Yeah.
pussy as bait for friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Kurt
don't
does
know.
that. Kurt and Karen, they would like they're swingers.
I don't know, man. Billy, you think you ever get in there, dude?
Swinging?
You think the porn is I
think maybe it's a gateway drug.
Is a gateway
yeah.
to you swapping?
Yeah, something like that.
Nice,
Are you
man.
into the idea of wife swapping, or is it just?
Well, no, I'd have to get married first. Like,
Yeah,
for me now, it doesn't appeal to me at all. But
Yeah, right.
I need to see a ring in porn. You know what I'm saying? Or else I can't.
wanna
There's that added frisson. I don't know. There's
Absolutely.
something about it.
There's
I need
like
to see a wedding ring.
I love
There's a
that.
genre that's like Romanian orgies or whatever, and it's just a room with people all fucking each other on a pull-out couch, like a big, large sectional.
Oh no, that's
not-
It's so gross.
Right,
It's
yeah.
so gross.
It's like,
No,
I feel
that's-
like I'm looking at a magic eye. This is like a puzzle. with people fucking. I don't know who to beat off.
Don't
to.
focus your if you don't
Yeah,
focus
right.
your
It's
eyes.
not
you see a really
Romanian.
You
hot
see a
woman.
sailboat.
Yeah.
It's a cool skull.
it's Czech, dude. It's not Romanian. They love orgies.
Czech has some great porn, dude.
Yeah, the
Czech casting.
The Czech love. Yeah, they
You
love
mother-
casting
you see
couch.
those?
They love orgies.
Checks
they love
cashed.
gangbang.
Is that would be like
Yeah,
a cool,
they love to cash.
where
They
you
love
pay-
to.
they
Their
pay-
mouths love to write checks and then cash them.
Yeah, oh yeah, I love those casting videos because it's just such terrible acting. Where it's like, oh no, we have to have sex now. And it's like,
You know, I always thought would be like a fun sketch is like you have a birthday party for a guy that's in the closet, but it's like a big fat guy, you know, like a flamboyant big fat, like you,
like a cool,
a big
guy that
fat
everyone
flamboyant
respects.
guy, and it's his birthday.
Everyone thinks
but
is
like
cool,
you know, he's
and
very,
they
he's
wanna
clearly
fuck him.
very gay, but like,
But he's like,
you know,
cool, but he's
closeted
not
or
gay, he's
whatever.
actually straight.
And they bring out a big cake for his
He's not
birthday, and he's like,
closeted at all.
"Oh my god!" And then the stripper comes out of the cake, and he's like, "Oh, I thought I was going to eat the biggest cake in the world."
That's funny as shit, dude.
Yeah,
you should
dude.
do that.
How fucking disappointed would you be if you just thought you were gonna get that giant cake
And you are gay, yeah.
and there's a woman inside of it ruining the cake?
Just like Seagal in Under Siege.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
wanted to eat that whole cake too, but now he has to babysit some fucking
Does-
woman the whole rest of the
Doesn't
movie.
she pop out and like pull her tits out?
Yeah.
And
There's
it's
a
like-
good long scene of
Yeah.
tits and Under
And it takes her
Siege.
like
Oh, hell
fucking
yeah.
5 minutes before she realizes the room's empty.
Yeah.
She's hearing all these gunshots and like, oh, I guess that's very similar to that we mentioned it on the last one. Is in Bloodsport, the scene where Jean-Claude Van Damme has fucked a reporter lady and she's waking up the next morning and she wakes up to Jean-Claude Van Damme getting dressed. But the way they directed the scene is like it's her like waking up and she's like, oh, and Jean-Claude Van Damme's over there, so the shot cuts to Van Damme. And the way they directed it was, you know, she's supposed to be waking up and seeing him while he's getting dressed, but they just shoot Jean-Claude Van Damme. So his cue, he stands there on his mark with his pants, his underwear underneath his ass, looking over his shoulder, and then the director goes, and action, and then he finishes playing the concert. But the edit point is like a microsecond off. So it just gives you the impression that he's been standing there pointing his bare ass at this woman while she's asleep until she wakes up. And
Do you think
If you got it, flaunt it. You know?
it would be so cool if Jean-Claude Van Damme, when he asked his wife to marry her, he like did a full split and then opened the ring box?
Or the ring was on his dick.
Oh, that'd be
You know, he does
cool,
a
yeah.
full split.
when there was the
I fucking love Bloodsport though.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
such a good movie.
It's a
When there was-
hilarious movie.
when the terrorist attack happened in Belgium after the Paris attacks,
Yeah.
I made an image that's Jean-Claude Van Damme doing the splits in between the Twin Towers and the Eiffel Tower. and he's shitting onto a Quran in the toilet. And I have to
Satire.
bring everybody
Nice.
together. Yeah.
Did anyone
good, man.
did anyone call them the terrorist attacks? No, sorry. Apologize.
You know who's the real terrorist? Paris Hilton.
Uh-oh.
Folks. That whore.
One Night in Paris. We've definitely talked about that porno, right?
It's not very good.
It's
That
not
reality
that
I
good.
give I give it 2 thumbs down.
That reality
actually.
show
Yeah,
is
yeah.
great. Yeah, we have like
With
dumb
Nicole
rich
Richie?
people go and humiliate people from rural America.
Yeah.
We don't even know who we're mocking anymore. Was that The Simple Life?
The Simple
Yeah, the
Life.
Simple
Yeah,
Life,
yeah.
right.
With
Yeah, they had to get-
Lionel's daughter.
Yeah.
They had to just get jobs at like a fast food place.
Yeah, yeah. And then they'd like fuck dudes like at local bars.
Yeah.
Stop, come on.
What, dude? I didn't do anything.
All right.
Did they fuck on that show?
Of course.
Yeah, they used to like make out with like just like local guys with like their lips full of dip and stuff. They'd just be like so confused. They're like, yeah, these ladies came from New York. Now I'm making out with them.
You know,
Cool.
it
Pretty
feels
cool.
like her whole body's made out of elbows, but she smell real nice.
Yeah, she smell good.
She smell good to me.
She smell good, but yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
man,
They do fist fuck a cow on that show.
Oh yeah, they have to inseminate
Yeah, because
a cow.
they're like, oh well, we're farmers, but like I don't know how much of American agriculture is still actual farms and not like a Monsanto futuristic prison for chickens.
right,
where you commit a chicken thought crime. So like they're like, it's just a simple life here out on the farm, and they're in some big fucking warehouse, like sticking their entire arm into a cow's pussy at one
there
point.
was a huge run of like horse and cow, like jerking off horses and putting your whole fist in a cow's pussy.
Yeah,
humor.
Jackass.
That happened in like
Yeah.
the early aughts. I feel like.
Wait,
Yeah,
I thought,
yeah.
I think
Freddie
like,
got
no, I
fingered.
don't.
Freddie got fingered.
You like to like collect a bull's semen, you have to stimulate their prostate, so you have to stick your whole arm in their asshole.
Yeah, yeah.
And then collect it. But I think with a cow, with a lady cow, I think you have to do something similar, but like you put like a pipette into the vagina, and then
Nice.
you also stick your arm in their asshole. as
Oh,
well.
yeah, dude.
Just like
I just don't believe we don't
That's
have the
birds and bees
technology to
type
put a
stuff.
fake arm in the cow.
Yeah.
Whatever is being accomplished with the human arm,
We've
there's
been
no
to the
way.
moon.
Or just let the cow. Why can't the cows just fuck? You know,
I don't
there's
think they
enough
want to.
room and technology to allow.
I don't
the
think
cows
they've
to
ever
fuck
figured
each
out
other.
how to fuck, dude. I think it's been
They're not
for
tame the
2,000
bears.
years.
First of all, I don't even know where cows are indigenous from. I don't know where we
I know
got
They're
them.
buffalo.
I think
right?
I think they do this with horses particularly because like a stallion can actually kill a mare.
Oh,
if
really?
You're not careful.
With that good
yeah.
dick?
And yeah, exactly.
Dick's so good you
dick's
die.
too good, you're
Yeah,
dead. Yeah. But like when you're
Wow.
invested like hundreds of thousands of dollars in like a horse or whatever, you
Yeah.
can't take chances like that.
Sure.
Um,
Interesting.
But the cows, it's whatever.
Yeah.
We are back, but I don't think anyone's watching, so I am not feeling CumTown right now. if I'm being completely honest.
Is the same basic principle. And what we've seen 2 nights in a row, and you know the box score reflects this, frankly, is the past 2 games, the Dallas Mavericks, the rest of the team, outside of Tim Hardaway last night, the rest of the team has been kind of blech. I mean,
I'm going
Derek
to
Jones
eat,
Jr.
listen to
and
my
Josh
mouse
Green
pod,
essentially
and play
form
some
one
stuff.
position for me. Where
That's
between
just what's
those
going to
guys'
happen.
minutes, you're basically getting 48 minutes of the two of them. And between those two guys tonight, you had 17 points, you had 6 rebounds and 5 assists. Not terrible, but not good enough. Not for that much volume. And you know, on offense, like they're gonna they need a little bit more to overcome the fact that these guys just can't defend anyone. And it's, you know, Luka played a pretty subpar game. Just being perfectly candid, all of his shots were short. The man can either hit free throws or hit short jumpers. There's never both in the same game. And you know, Kyrie was 8 of 17, not inefficient by any stretch, but he had a few, you know, times forays in the lane where he gets broadsided and just nothing happens. And so it's like all these things were kind of a recipe for another Mavs win on the second night of a back-to-back where they needed to have more energy and they just didn't.
Yeah, your point about, like, you know, needing other guys to step up when your stars don't necessarily have it. I understand that, and the box score doesn't look great, but they didn't get a ton of. I mean, well, this might be part of it. You know, they didn't get a ton of shots. Like Kyrie and Luka shot a lot tonight.
Oh, they're like they had no second chance points. They had not. I mean, very. You know, I guess they did have 11. To have 11 offensive rebounds, and I think they only had like 3. At one point in the game, they only had 3 second chance points. I'm trying to see what they have right now. See if they even have that.
Yeah, Lively got a lot of offensive rebounds, but he wasn't in position for a putback. Like he always had to pass it out.
Right.
But yeah, like I don't know. I feel like I'm not necessarily dismayed at anything about the offense tonight. I mean, this game to me is 100% a reflection of their defensive ineptitude.
Okay.
I understand, you know, it's not great that your 3 starters outside of Luka and Kyrie combined for, you know, what was it, 19 points basically. Like that's not great, but also, you know, they combined to shoot 50% from the floor, so they kind of did what they could with the shots they were given. The problem for me is that seemingly no one on this roster can guard a chair or a traffic cone. Like it's gone beyond scheme at this point. Like people might want to be like, well, what can they do schematically to make things better? And it's like, if at a basic level, if the majority of your roster cannot stop a one-on-one live dribble, there's not a lot of scheme you can do to cover up that kind of weakness. And we saw it repeatedly, and we saw it it was everyone. And of course, second night of a back-to-back, they've kind of had a pretty rough travel schedule. So yeah, they were probably tired tonight, but I mean, the defense it's been looking like this almost every.
This is not new.
Yeah,
it's the same.
And I mean, you know, Luka and Kyrie are the obvious ones to point to because, you know, they're just not great defenders, although Luka has shown some spurts of being better. But the thing that's really, you know, you don't really expect those guys to be great defenders. Like the offensive burden they carry, like Derek Lively, Grant Williams, Derek Jones Jr., Josh Green, Dante, like those are the guys that need to be guarding on this team. And I saw repeatedly guys blowing by Grant Williams, scoring through Derek Lively. He's a rookie, I understand. Blowing past Josh Green, blowing past Derek Jones Jr. And again, not even like in pick and rolls, like simply just like guys catching the ball and just dribbling past their defender. And that just leads to, I mean, you can't do anything because, you know, it led to early on, it was a barrage in the paint. They scored 58 points in the paint, and honestly, it felt like that this was going to be like a 70-point night in the points in the paint night for the Kings with the way it was looking in the first half. But the thing is the Mavericks were like, okay, we got to wall off the paint, but we're still giving up these uncontested line drives to the rim. So what happens is they rotated, but now they're giving up open threes. The Kings shot 40 3-pointers. That's a lot. Me and you, Kirk, we talked to really, really smart basketball people that are smarter than us, and one of the things is like 3-point percentage defense is pretty variable, and involves some luck. But what's not luck is how many threes you allow. And the Mavericks allowed a lot of 3-pointers because their defense was such a sieve at the rim that they just had to rotate. I mean, it was pick your poison. If the Kings didn't shoot 17 of 40 from 3, they would have had 80 points in the paint tonight. Like, I mean, it was simply that bad. And when your defense is that bad, you're once again asking your offense to pitch a perfect game, and they were kind of game for it for 60% of this game. And then naturally they kind of cooled off for a little bit, and it was over because the defense stayed just as bad as it was from opening tip to the final buzzer. So that to me is the story of the game, is the defense. The offense doesn't really, it's not even really registering for me tonight.
Yeah. Well, I say the reason I bring up the offense is because I've sort of accepted that the defense isn't going to get any better. I've been reading. I hopped in here early and was reading a lot of the commentary in our chats. And please, guys, continue having these conversations. I like reading them. I enjoy kind of hearing what you guys think. But when it comes down to, for me, is that the Mavericks have needed a better roster for years. This is the better roster. That's the thing. This is better than it was last year. Dorian couldn't defend anybody either. Like Dorian is not a point of attack defender. He just isn't. Because remember how often Damian Lillard would light him on fire, and the Mavericks just repeatedly put him on. Reggie Bullock was about the best Dallas has had for a while, and they wore all the tread off his tires during the 21-22 season. Point of attack defense is not easy. It's extremely hard. And I've got a number of people that want me to address kids post game. I've not read it yet, to be quite honest. I had to finish up some things. I tend to try not to pay attention to post game. I'll just because it fires me up, and it's all BS anyways. You know, I think what I'm guessing is that kid probably gave some comments which removed all responsibility from himself and said, well, what can you do? That would, you know, because that's what he does. Like it's the Jason Kidd. Well, it's like you know, who's coaching here? I don't know. It's very, maybe I'm wrong. We'll see.
I mean, one quote I see from, I haven't seen a lot of the quotes, but it's been less that and more that he's just kind of frustrated with the defense, which he kind of expressed last season too. The only one I've seen so far is from Tim McMahon posting. Kid said, right now our best defense is our offense. If we're not scoring 130, it's hard to win.
Right.
Which he's right.
He's right. And the question kind of becomes, and our staffer Matthew Phillips posed this right before Josh and I hopped on, where he said, you know, what is the guiding defensive principle of the Mavericks? When they had Kristaps Porzingis, they played a lot of drop coverage because Kristaps could not guard at the perimeter, but was also 7'2". So you get your big, you get your big hands in the air. You assume, you know, because again, KP's actually back to that form now that his knee's finally better, and he's not having to. He's basically a fourth on the totem pole on offense, so he's able to really focus. I don't know what their defensive principles really are, because they are so bad at basic. It's been this way since 2016. Like, this isn't new. That's why I don't really know how to talk about it sometimes, because it's one of these things where it's like everybody gets beat first off the dribble. It's hard to play perimeter defense in the NBA because you cannot hand check, you cannot body bump, and a lot of these guys get just attacked off their angles over and over and over again. It was really, so it's like I don't feel like you know, I'm a guy who loves to beat a dead horse, and I don't really know how to harp on it in a way that would feel constructive, because a lot of what they're doing is funneling stuff to Lively, and Lively's been about as like way better than I possibly could have ever expected as a rookie, and so all that feels fine. And then, you know, with Maxi Kleber hurt, it's very, he plays a bit of an outsized role considering how not good he is for what the Mavericks need. but he's not playing. So you go to Dwight Powell or you go to Rashawn Holmes, and neither one of those guys are particularly good.
Yeah, there's a weird. I'm getting like people were really mad about Dwight Powell in this game, and I get it. He had some really bad defensive possessions.
He also had
against
some really
Sabonis.
bad offensive possessions, like that he was getting the slip at
Yeah, he
the.
had 2 turnovers.
And it's just like, what are you like, Bub? What are you doing?
But also, like, I'm arguing with people right now on Twitter about this. He played 13 minutes.
Right, 13 minutes isn't what lost them the game.
No, like, and Powell's never been a great defender. Like, if you're looking to like, if you want to assign blame, it's a team issue. Like the defense is seriously just like everyone on the team holds some responsibility for how bad the defense is. But like Grant Williams, Derek Jones Jr., Josh Green, those guys are supposed to be good defenders. And when those guys are getting burnt off the dribble, I don't know what you can do because you already aren't going to get incredible defense possession to possession from Kyrie to Luka because those guys have to prop up your entire offense. Derek Lively's a rookie. Tim Hardaway Jr. is your microwave scorer off the bench. Like if the players you're paying to be defenders aren't defending, I don't know why people are getting so mad at the players that they aren't paying to be good defenders. like it just seems a little backwards to me. And again, he's averaging like the second lowest minutes since 2016, Hal. So like the way he's become like the mascot for everything that's wrong with the team. And look, I get it. Like his defensive lowlights are like when it's bad, it's really bad. Like Sabonis is like scoring through him like tissue paper. I get it. But also he played 13 minutes. There were 30 or whatever so minutes that were also played in this game that were also played with really bad defense. So that part's been bugging me a little bit. But I also know I'm more of a Dwight Powell defender.
Yeah, but it's like if you're arguing about the backup center, then you've lost the thread because everybody like that's kind of what it comes down to. Like I don't even feel like deigning it with much of a conversation because it's an excuse in the sense of everyone is frustrated at 2 straight losses to better teams. And normally I'm right there on the front line sort of kicking and screaming, but I don't know. I mean, where I am currently frustrated, and actually, you know what? But I'll explain where I'm currently frustrated here in just a second. So, guys, it's 15 minutes into the show. If you could do me a favor and like the stream, if you could consider subscribing to our show. We are slowly but surely rolling along, picking up steam. If you could also, when the show's over, leave a comment on the actual video. I really like seeing those the next day, particularly from people who can't catch these live. But something about comments actually boosts visibility, so that would be really helpful to Josh and I. For those of you who are listening on the audio stream, if you could go leave us a review, I would really appreciate that. 5 stars, 1 star even, but a review would be delightful. And as always, if you are interested in contacting us, we do have the email podmaverickpodcast@gmail.com if you have any questions. We'll have a slower week this week, so maybe I don't know, maybe Josh and I will hop on in a couple of days. Probably not, but maybe we'll hop on in a couple of days and after the mood has settled and talk a little Mavericks basketball. You never know. Okay, so the where I am currently frustrated is like the NBA is 82 games long. You get the schedule X number of days in advance. You know what's happening and who you're playing when. I hate the excuse making from the schedule from people online. You play who's in front of you. Frankly, the Mavericks have had a baby shit soft schedule. And so that they've played more road games, that they've played a lot on the road and they come back and then they leave again. Boo fucking who? There are 29 other teams that also play on the road and at home. What the fuck are we doing? That is such nonsense.
Yeah,
It doesn't really matter who put that out into the universe. It's just that's loser talk. Shut up.
Now you're fired up. I like that. Yeah, I don't know. Like it's annoying. I just don't. Anytime you talk about stuff that's not on the court, I just don't want to. Like, I'm not trying to say it's not a factor. It's just I don't want to talk about it because, that's not. I don't know. It's not fun.
Well, it's part of it.
We can just hit record and say, "Hey, it was a schedule loss. Talk to y'all."
I hate that.
There's nothing to talk about then if that's what we want to.
I mean, what I think is really cool is the Mavericks played 14 games now.
Uh-huh.
Luka's played all 14.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're telling me that I've gotten to watch Luka all 14 games so far this season, got to see Kyrie 11 times, I think. And if you would have told me that at the start of the year that the Mavericks would get these guys this much to start the year, I would be ecstatic. And then guess what? They're 9-5, which is awesome. So, talking about schedule losses and this, that, and the other, a real schedule loss comes when you rest your star player because of the quants tell you it's important that these guys get rest. Like instead, what we, and you and I have disagreements on this, but I am really delighted to see the team playing basketball that they have. And I think that there's a lot of rest built into elements of the schedule. Like, look at this week. The Mavericks are off Monday, Tuesday. They play Wednesday night in Los Angeles. Then they're off, I'm pretty sure, Thursday, Friday, and don't play again until Saturday. That's a pretty good chunk of rest. Heading into the Bucks game, the Mavericks had 2 days off. So, like, the whole notion that they're tired is something that, on the one hand, I sympathize with because those late-night travel things can really screw with you. On the other hand, everyone else deals with this too. That's all.
The Bucks didn't look super tired last night in the fourth quarter, and they were on the second night of a back-to-back. So, like, every team goes through this parts of the schedule too. Like, it's not like the Mavericks are unique. Like, every single team has a stretch where it's like, oh, this sucks, and you just kind of have to do what you can. So, I'm not trying to argue this wasn't a schedule loss or anything like that, or that they weren't tired, but it's just, again, it's just not. No, it's not fun to talk about.
I mean, this is
not
why
it's not the game.
This is why you pull through last night. So a night like so you don't lose 2 in a row in painful fashion. And instead the Mavericks went
makes
cold.
Blowing that fourth quarter. This game makes that fourth quarter hurt way more. For sure.
Yeah. I mean, it's this team's capable of scoring 125 points a game. I like this is I firmly disagree with our commenter. Adrian Solomon says the offensive scheme or lack thereof is more responsible for Luka and Kyrie looking gassed. Like what? Like they've scored 100. They've scored over 100 points. This might be the lowest scoring game of the year for the Mavericks. They scored 113.
What are they supposed to be doing otherwise?
Right, they're their best 2 players. Like I don't like it when they go ISO heavy sometimes, but they've been running so many different actions. Like
Luka and
shots
Kyrie
weren't falling.
Yeah, I know. And Luka and Kyrie, like it or not, they're good at ISO. They're going to do what they're good at. Like,
right.
Right. What's funny is the Kings actually. I think this probably goes into a little bit of the shooting. They were 14 of 28 on above the break threes, so 50%, which is really, like, that's a lot.
Yeah.
And they were 3 of 12 on the corners. So this could have been a much uglier game than it was if they hit their corner threes at a normal rate. So, but again, they were dominant in the paint, 18 of 25. 72% at the rim.
So you're telling me most of the threes they hit were above the break?
Yes, 14 of 28 were above the break.
God, so the Darren Fox ones were really brutal. The Malik Monk ones, there were. I mean that man is just such a beautiful shooter,
and that's why. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, I kind of cut you off.
No, it's good.
Yeah, I was just saying, like, that's why I think I said something earlier in the night on Twitter that was like, the Mavericks are kind of getting snake biting from hot shooting. Everyone was like, what are you talking about, hot shooting? The defense stinks. And I was like, I get it, but, like, you can give up open threes and the team can, like, the Kings could have had a bad shooting night and that wouldn't, like, they could have missed some of those looks that they were taking on those above the break threes. They weren't all just catch and shoot wide open. Like you said, Monk hit a couple off the dribble. Fox hit a couple off the dribble as well. The problem is what opens you up to that is when you're giving up a layup line to the paint, then you're more susceptible to, I think, a hot shooting night kind of really drowning you because you've already given up so much by giving up the rim basically. So yeah, it just makes it more. It's like they're defensively. It's like they're playing with one arm tied behind.
Yeah, and I don't really see any actual solutions.
Maxey needs to get back healthy, and he probably needs a time machine to 2020. But like they really need him just for minutes. And I know he hasn't looked great this season, but that's really, I mean, barring a trade, that's probably the best thing that they could do until Omax Prosper is ready. But I think it's pretty clear that the coaching staff doesn't think he's ready yet, which is fine. He's a rookie. I will say, I love you, Mavs fans, but Rashawn Holmes is not going to turn what is right now the fifth worst defense in the NBA into something that's passable. So I understand the idea of wanting to try something different when it's not working, and I'm sure that they will try it eventually. It's a long season; they've only played 14 games, but again, you talked about it before. Like if we're talking about the backup center saving the defense, then like there's a lot of problems.
Right. So one guy, T-Bone in the chat says Maxi is washed, and I don't disagree, but a washed Maxi might be a better option at this point than some of the other things they have going.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I really don't know. The chat has repeatedly thrown out how you cannot play a mix of Kyrie, Luka, Tim Hardaway Jr., Jaden Hardy. Like you can't have like three of those guys on the court at any one point in time.
That's the roster, though.
That's the roster. So it's like I don't disagree that you shouldn't do that if you want to be good on defense, but that's kind of the option. That's kind of what they have to do.
Right. I mean, they already start two non-shooters really in Jones and Lively. You know, they mix in Green a little bit. Like,
yeah,
Green played 26 minutes. Like, it's not like they're not playing the good defenders the most, a lot of minutes. Like Jones only played 19, but again, he was not good tonight. So,
well, I'm really getting a kick out of this in the chat because it's just like, well, it's the roster, and it's again, Josh and I don't disagree, but this was what the Mavericks get for having essentially the same roster from March of 2019 until the trade for Kyrie Irving. Like they didn't drafting didn't work out particularly well. Free agency signings weren't particularly good. It left the roster in a spot of sort of having to start over. And once again, we see that Luka and then Kyrie, of course, as well, elevate players that aren't as good as they could, as they really are. Grant Williams had such a hot start to the season, and there's not, I keep seeing notes. There's going to be trades that are coming. No, there won't. There won't. Who are they trading? What are they trading? They don't have anything to trade. It's okay. Again, we're 9-5.
Yeah, I think that's the thing you have to come back to is that they're 9-5.
If they finish the season 5 games over 500. That is what?
That's
math.
What wins is that?
Bad math.
Was that like 46 wins? Somewhere around there, 45?
I don't even know. What is it? This is this is how good we are. No, it's like 43 and
43.
I don't know. Whatever it is. This is how good Josh and I are at this.
I'm not even trying. I'm sorry. I can't do math.
The point is, if you're 5 games over 500 at the end of the year, that's 4 games. That's 9 games up from where they would be last year, which is a pretty ridiculous game improvement.
Right.
9 games is a lot in a regular in a win total jump. Double-digit jumps do not happen. Like it's very rare. It's not to say that couldn't happen, but not bad. Yeah, it can't be 5 games over 500. You're right, Jared. It's a math. I was sitting there thinking that in my head, so it's fine.
And then before we go, so they're I'm looking at cleaning the glass, and if you want to end on a positive note, their net rating on cleaning the glass and it's updated with this game is still +3 per 100 possessions, which is pretty good, all things considered. Offense is 2, defense is 25th, and you see the 25th, and you're like, oh boy. But let's remember last season. I'm going to pull up last season's numbers. The best offense in the NBA last season was the Kings, and they had the 25th best defense last season, and they won 48 games, and they had a net rating of 2.4 per 100 possessions. So the Mavericks can have a successful season with this doo-doo defense if their offense continues to be one of the best in the league, which, there might be some signs that they're, some things might cool down. Some of their shooting marks might go down. But I really do believe that this offense is that good. They were that good last year. They just got bit by, some historically bad paint defense and some bad clutch games. But I think the formula for this team until there's more roster changes is I think they're going to beat up on the bad teams, and they're probably going to lose most of their games against the good teams. But you do that, you're going to make the playoffs.
I think that's true.
there's more bad teams than good teams. I
And the
think.
real problem the Mavericks had the last several years is they couldn't beat the bad
That's-
teams because Luka wouldn't show up. He
Yeah.
would only show up for the good teams. Yeah, that's a great comment. Maths in this chat is worrying. Thank you, 17. That's a really funny comment. Rhaegar, Regarian says, why is Kirk saying we have nothing to trade? That is objectively untrue. Well, think about it like this. I'm hearing in the chat that all these different players on our team suck. But then you're saying that we need to trade those players.
Excuse me.
Yeah, the Josh Green
Good point.
trade stock is taking a bit of a hit, I think,
Yes.
so far this season. They do have a first rounder I think they can trade.
I don't want them to use that though. To me, that's their that's their break glass in case of emergency trade, and I'm not there yet mentally.
Unless something presents itself. But yeah,
Sure.
we'll see. Yeah, we'll see.
The West, somebody said earlier that the West is a gauntlet. I kind of feel like it's a slap fight where you. I'm just outside of Denver. Even this Kings team, where it's Sabonis got played out of the playoffs last year, guys. So it's like I don't. You get the right matchup. Like Luka's the player in the West outside of Jokic that no team wants to play for seven games. So get me to the playoffs and then we can talk. And
Yeah.
I really feel like this is what did we say yesterday? I think we said this yesterday that we are confident that this is a playoff team. And
Yep.
I think I firmly said not a play-in team, a playoff team.
So top 6.
Top 6. I still
Which
believe that.
Yeah, I think these last 2 games haven't really changed that. I think
Yeah.
the only thing, there might be some disappointment from people that thought that they were going to be like a top 3 seed or a top 2 seed with how they started out the gate. And I think me and you were never there. We always were like, they're probably like their ceiling is maybe the 4th seed and they might end around 5 or 6, and they're still on that pace even after these games. So, we'll see. There's still, it's still 14 games. Like we haven't even hit the 20 game mark. So
Yeah.
there's a lot left to learn about this team, I think.
Well, we'll see what these guys do. I'm interested. The problem, and a lot of us get really frustrated with Jason Kidd. I get frustrated with Jason Kidd in game. I don't really get frustrated with Jason Kidd out of game because there's not a lot of practice. There's not a lot of time to install stuff. It's oftentimes on NBA players themselves to, go back and look at film and figure out where things are going wrong. And, maybe the Mavericks will do that this week. Maybe they'll figure something out. Maybe they'll find some sense of connectivity. I mean, the argument for finding that sense of connectivity in defense can be found in the what was it? The spring of 22, where all of a sudden they found a 7.5 man rotation and just rode it to the Western Conference Finals. They had like the 8th best defense for about 6 weeks, and that was enough to pull them. And maybe that'll be what these Mavericks do,
Yeah, that might be it.
It's you don't have to be dominant always. Offense is so much more important with the way the rules are set this game.
Yep.
It's fine.
That's why they're not. Yeah, they've got. That's why they're 9-5 with the doo-doo defense, because their offense just matters so much more. So yeah, you're absolutely right.
Top 5 comment from Adrian in the chat. Galaxy Brain, if there's no system to install, the lack of practice time doesn't matter. I think they have a system. It's just entirely based upon help and recover. And, you see it by the time a third rotation happens, or meaning defensive rotation happens, like Josh Green's running from 15 feet away. He gets there and he gets burned off the dribble. And at that point, it's not his fault. Because if he closes out slower, he's giving up a 3-point shot. If he closes, it's like you're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. It's that first instance of dribble penetration, which the Mavericks get screwed on over and over and over again because they just can't do it.
Yeah, and they're still, they're okay at giving up. They're giving up way too many. I think they're giving up too many shots at the rim, but they're still 11th in rim rate.
Who the fuck?
for
What
opposing
happened
rim
to
rate.
all the rainbow
They give
trout,
up a lot
man?
of
Jeez.
threes, but they don't give up a ton of corner. They're giving up like I think the shots that they're giving up are, I don't know. It's not as bad as some of the score looks. So like that maybe leads to like their identity or scheme wise. Again, the problem is that doesn't matter if you just can't go stop someone one-on-one from going to
Right. Anyway, and I'm kind of all over the place tonight. It's not like I'm exactly a Jason Kidd defender, but I have a hard time laying this at him at this point because there are instances like last year and the year prior where where coaching would matter in a key decision point and he just wouldn't do anything. And now it's just like the past 2 losses. I wish he would have called a timeout a little bit earlier last night, but he was trying to give Kyrie a blow. That's a mistake, but it's an understandable one. Tonight they just got beat and they couldn't find solutions. So what do? You go back to the drawing board and you try again.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I wasn't going to hold the live show, but it's just 10 o'clock, so I think I'm going to do another one of those. So if those of you who are new, you want to back out of this when we close up here in YouTube and go over to the Mavs Therapy. We can talk for, half an hour, and then we'll close out and rejoin on the night before Thanksgiving, Wednesday night. So you got anything else before we go?
No, I think that's it.
All right, guys. Kirk Henderson, Josh Bowe, thanks so much for hanging out with us here at Pod Maverick After Dark. I appreciate everyone's support, and we will talk with you guys soon. Hello, friends. Welcome to Pod Maverick Group Therapy. My name is Kirk Henderson. I'm editor-in-chief over at MavsMoneyball.com. I am finally getting around to posting the link in the chat here on the YouTube Live that will let you join this particular show with me. For those of you who may be new, remember it's a pretty simple process of clicking that link here. It's in the pinned messages now. Look for, Pod Maverick, a Dallas Mavericks podcast, and then a live stream. It's like a StreamYard URL. We'll talk about whatever you guys want to tonight, because it seems like a lot of people are way more fired up than me. And maybe it's because I'm tired, but I don't know. I'm still kind of working my way through these Mavericks. Being 9-5 feels pretty dang good to me. You can, as Krishna is noting in the chat, you can join using your phone or your computer or a tablet, whatever you want. I'm going to pull up Micah here first, who looks like he's out and about town, which makes me a little worried on his behalf, but that's just fine. He knows what he's doing. Micah, what's going on?
What's going on, Kirk? Wow, I'm the first one here. Yep, I'm a professional. I know how to drive the lanes, just like apparently the Sacramento Kings.
Oh.
First of all, no one's panicking and freaking out. I mean, overall, look, we improved from last year. Hell of an improvement, absolutely. But the issues are still glaring, and I kind of want to get your thought on a couple of different topics. I mean, I've been brewing since, been watching all season and haven't said anything, but just have a couple of questions now after our we're 14 games in?
14 games, 9-5.
So 14 games in. First off, is Dallas the most hated team by the NBA refs? Is the reffing system completely comprised of Kyrie Irving haters? Because I literally watched Kyrie Irving literally get blitzed, haymakers, like knocked to the ground, tackled in the air all throughout the game, and this has been the worst I've seen throughout the whole season. They have literally just been allowing him to get abused. I'm used to it with Luka, but dang, Kyrie too? Really?
The Kyrie stuff is so difficult because he's so he uses his athleticism in a way that few other players I've ever watched do, because he hangs in the air like a second longer than everyone else. At least it feels that way with some of the shots that he gets off. And I wonder if the refs often are like waiting to see if the ball will fall before getting calls, because sometimes he just gets broadsided. I really don't understand it myself, but I also don't think it's I don't think it's that bad yet, and I think it'll get better as the year goes on.
Kirk, I think it's that bad already. Literally, when he got tackled, there's a play in the second or third quarter where he literally got tackled in the air, tackled to the ground in the air, and no whistle sounded. It's literally like the referees just don't like Dallas.
I can't imagine why they wouldn't. I can't imagine why they wouldn't like Dallas. Luka just berates them in multiple languages throughout every game.
I mean, because they treat him the same way, but I understand if you got against Luka, you got against Luka. At least treat the game like a professional.
Sure, I've never really seen Kyrie get chatty with refs. I don't understand why he's not getting more calls. I do agree with that, at least on the Kyrie part.
And he's a legitimate star for years and years, so it makes no sense the disrespect he's getting on the court. Other than that, I love Derek Lively, but Derek Lively isn't the answer right now. I love Derek Jones Jr. and I love Grant, but they're not the answer right now. Do we need another wing, or do we need another center in order to get this defense tied up? Because honestly, my opinion, we need another large wing, because we need someone who can stay in front of people so that way our center can actually do his job effectively and not constantly leave his man wide open for a quick drop-off pass and a dunk. Like, we don't have anybody that's standing in front of anyone right now. And I love the one at it, but it's rough.
I think of the two of them, the need is more in the wing category. Though I think that the kind of supply and demand of the NBA would mean that a big would probably be easier to find. It is really painful just watch. Josh and I just talked about this for 20 minutes. It's so painful watching every single person that can dribble a basketball in a straight line just immediately get into the paint. They just have to have somebody that can slow them down a little bit, because like Lively, I think you said he's not the answer right now. I think he is, and I think that the last 3 to 4 games he's looked worse than he is because he's kind of getting hung out to dry by his teammates, not being able to guard anyone.
Yeah, and that's what I mean by he's not the answer. It's not that he's not a solution. He's just not the answer to. We can't just say, okay, Derek Lively, go out there. All right, our problems are fixed. He's not the answer.
That's true.
We put a great piece in position, and he's up to 30 minutes a game. I'm happy.
Couldn't imagine. I really couldn't have imagined that at the beginning of the season. So it's they just need every single person. I'm sure Kid is going to get into their ass a little bit. It sounded like it in the post game comments, where it's like defend a little better, 20% more of the game, and maybe we might win. We never know.
Okay. Last thought. Do you think Kid is force feeding Josh Green to try to get him back in shape, get his confidence back up? Because he wasn't playing him a lot the past few games, and then last game and this game, it seems like he's been like making an emphasis on getting Josh Green as many minutes as he can possibly squeeze him, when Exum is arguably doing better, and DJJ is definitely doing better as far as metrics are concerned. I mean, it feels like he's trying to give Josh every chance he can, because you can't trade him until next season. So it feels like he's just trying to do his Jason Kidd thing of encourage him back into shape. And unfortunately, it has some results, but it feels like that's his aim right now. I'm not sure.
Yeah, and I think I tend to agree with the strategy, to be quite honest, because Derek Jones Jr. has had 2 off games in a row, and that's where you see the value of Josh Green performing well. I mean, he had a slightly better game tonight, but he's in his own head, and it really kind of it makes me almost feel bad for him. There was a kick ahead pass, and I want to say it was the third quarter, from Luka to Josh, and he was in the left corner, so at the top of your TV screen. I saw Josh Green pass fake to the baseline. I mean, literally like the cheerleader. There's nobody fucking there because you're in the farthest point of the corner. Just shoot the damn ball, man. He pump fakes like stop pump faking. Shoot it. Sorry, I'm mad.
Pass fake to nobody. Yes, I saw that, and I was just like, just put it up. Maxi Cleaver, just put. Oh, that's not Maxi. That's Josh. Just put the ball up, please.
Right. That's right.
Yeah, and poor Rashawn Holmes couldn't even get any minutes in on his team until the end of the game. That's just embarrassing.
I don't think kid's ever gonna play him.
And that just sucks because you have a weapon and you just don't want to use it at all. But whatever. I mean, hey, 9-5. Can't complain about that. Pretty good. We're doing good.
Micah,
I think that you'll see this game's get together later. So,
Micah, you drive safe. Thank you for kicking us off tonight.
yes, sir. Have a good one.
All right. Talk radio. That's what this is now. All right, we're gonna go next to Tyron, who's joining us again for the second straight night. But I'm assuming these earlier games are working out for your schedule. What's going on?
Not much, man. How you doing?
I'm all right.
All right. I might have to hop out of here and hop back on. I got a special guest here with me.
Sure. No, I understand. I understand.
Yeah. But I just a couple of observations of tonight's game is I was watching it with my son, who's 8 years old and kind of learning the game, and he told me, he said, "Daddy, Luca has 3 moves, and that's it." And I was kind of like, "Well, what are they?" He said, "Well, Daddy, he does the ball fake and he shoots a 3, or he'll do the step back shot 3, or he'll drive in the middle and kick out." Okay, yeah. So I'm thinking in my head, if the 8-year-old can figure that out, surely these other teams can figure it out. And he's been doing this now for so long. And don't get me wrong, this isn't me bashing Luka, but I mean, because he's damn good at what he does.
It works.
It worked. But, when you got the rest of the guys on the team not contributing, it's not that hard to defend, obviously. And I feel like that's kind of what happened tonight, on top of, the Kings got out and ran. They were running tonight. Yep. Like there were certain sequences where it was like, watching a ping pong match. Like, the ball was just going back and forth across the court. And we got beat there too. And it just blew my mind that sorry.
No, that's right. He speaks for us.
Yeah. But it just blew my mind that like Jason Kidd never took the time to take a timeout and kind of regroup, slow the ball down or anything. They just kept running. It's not our game. You know what I mean? So
I don't mind them when they're running, but one of the problems that they were running into was it was Josh Green and it was Derek Jones Jr. that were missing their attempts while running.
Right.
And it was like all of a sudden the game went from like 8 points to like 15.
Yeah.
And it was like, ooh.
Yeah. I'm not really a stats guy, but I would love to see how many bunnies we missed tonight.
A lot. I mean, that like the Luka part of it, Luka's shot was about 3 to 4 inches short on every attempt, and you could see like anytime you're front rimming like that, that's a painful way to go.
Yeah.
And he just didn't have it, and it's everybody was pretty inefficient tonight, and it was like a death by 1,000 cuts game. Like Kyrie, I think, was the only one who shot pretty close to 50% on volume.
Yeah.
I think, it was a tough game.
And let's be honest. I mean, I know we're fans first, but let's look at it from a human aspect too. They've had probably one of the most fucked up schedules I've seen, not competition wise, but travel wise, I've seen in a long time. Like these guys are probably just tired. Like let's
see. Brad Townsend did that, and I sort of lost it on the last show because I'm just like, you knew about that in advance. But then there's also the secondary thing that I'm very pleased with, in that compared to last year, we didn't get Luka games. Like Luka was resting 8 games into the year. He's played 14 straight. Kyrie's played 11 of 14, and those 3 that he missed were because of injury that he has since sort of battled through. So it's like when you look at that, and then I look at the schedule, I look at the end result. When I pull back, I'm not really mad. But these last 2 games have left a little bit of a stink taste in your mouth because it's just like you're losing to clearly better teams, and like you would love to see them win a measuring stick game where you can go, okay, we've taken real real steps here. I just haven't seen it yet.
Yeah. I still feel, I mean, we lost these last 2, obviously, but I do still feel like we're trending in the right direction, and 2, that we can learn a lot from these games still. The season is still very young. We got a pretty new team. These guys are still trying to learn each other and gel and all that kind of stuff. I don't know if they're all going to be here.
Right.
In the next couple months, we'll see about that. But, I mean, I still feel pretty good about things. But like I said, with, Luka doing Luka things and the rest of the guys kind of falling asleep, we're just not that hard to Luka play against. You know, I want Luka to. I know he's more than capable. I'm not saying this is his fault, but I would love to see Luka learn a few more tricks. I know he can, and I can't wait to see what that could be.
Well, I mean, last night he shot a lot of mid-range shots that they gave to him, and they all went down. His post moves are pretty unbelievable when he gets down there. One thing I sort of hate that he does in the post is he spins middle because he thinks he's going to get that contact call when he's bumping like he's Dirk. He just doesn't get it.
Nah.
I mean, there are games where he'll get like 3 or 4 of them, but he doesn't have the same lean that Dirk does, nor is he 7 feet tall. So he's getting these bump shots. It's like tonight, those were the ones that were all going off the front. Where when he spins to the baseline and he's basically got the defender on his shoulder, he is a bully ball monster.
Yeah.
I love watching him in the post. I really do. But you know, I do feel like he goes to the well with certain moves way too often. Like Jonathan Sharks, my friend at the Ringer who passed away last year, he referred to the step back 3 as the coward shot. And when Luka takes like 7 of them, I can't even though it goes down, I can't get out of my head. I don't agree with that take, but it's like it lives in my mind. And it's just when Luka gets somebody on his shoulder, like when he's gotten past them, I think a lot of times he slows up to try to get that contact.
Yeah.
And he's just so damn strong, like LeBron, he's not gonna get the call.
Nah,
so it's like go all the way and go to the rim. You know, somebody asked me the other day if I thought he goes to the rim less, and I said I think he's choosing to go to the rim less. Because he doesn't want to take the abuse there.
Yeah.
And
can you blame him?
No, I really can't. And that's where I think, you know, some of these things what we're seeing, you know, the kickouts that are all for the good, like when the threes are falling, we don't care. We've just had a couple of games in a row where they aren't.
Yeah. I mean, like, I 100% agree with all that. I just the step back 3 kills me sometimes. When it goes in, great. But like you said, when you start chunking like 7, 8 of them in a row, it's like, bro, please stop.
Sure. For sure.
Just stop. And just one last take. And again, I'm not bashing. I just feel like we're only, you know, touching the tip of the iceberg when it comes to his talents. And I just can't wait to see what else comes.
Well, the offense has been a little ugly the last few games, and I wish they would dip more into the bag and use some things that they haven't shown a lot of. Like their last game, there was a Kyrie Luka pick and roll. We just haven't seen much of that, and I get why. You don't have a ton of tape of it, but there's elements that I would like to see more of. Like Dwight Powell almost gave me a heart attack tonight playing he was often the screener for Luka with Lively out. He got the ball off the free throw line a few times and almost shit himself. And Powell's usually pretty good at decision making off that line. He had like a free path to the basket at one time and drove in and stumbled out to a I think it was Derek Jones 3 that actually went down, but it was like, oh. I don't know. It's something else. Man, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Are you the kind of parent that can only hold their child in one arm, and it feels? Cause I can't hold my child on my right arm. I feel like I'm like, what is that? So as a result, my left arm, which I hold my child in all the time, I can't. I'm like getting nerve damage. Like I can't because I'm constantly like this. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
I've learned to use both arms, but I'm definitely more comfortable with my right.
I just can't. I'm such a. It's driving me crazy. I say it's like when you're doing these feedings every 2 hours. Every night I'm like, why is my shoulder hurt? Oh, my shoulder hurts. I didn't move it for almost.
Yeah. And you don't think they're that heavy, but when they're a brick in your arm for most of the day, it gotta wear something.
Right. That's right. Well, thank you for joining for the second straight day. I appreciate your time.
I got one more.
Oh, sure.
I'm sorry. I just want to point out the hilarity of JaVale McGee getting mixed up with Tim Hardaway Jr. in the first quarter. JaVale
McGee kind of punked us tonight, and I don't like it. I was really mad at that.
Hilarious to me.
Oh yeah, that interaction was great because it's like he somehow had like a grill mouthpiece in too. Like there was a lot going on with JaVale.
I love it.
We need more punchiness to Mavs games. All right, man. Thanks for joining.
All right, take care.
All right, we're gonna go to Krishna next. Krishna, what's up, buddy?
Kirk, how are you?
I'm good.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know where to begin with this one. I'm kind of glad I haven't been super I don't want to say not invested. I am invested in the team, but I'm trying not to let obviously these games take over every single day. This was definitely a frustrating game, and I think I've been trying to look at what these what the team's numbers were in 21-22 because I feel like even in that season, the defense to start the year was pretty bad. I don't think it was this bad, but it was pretty bad. And I think this team has more personnel issues, but you and Josh have mentioned it, right? Like it's finally been the roster turnover this team has needed.
Yeah.
But roster turnover is going to come with issues. It was never going to be easy. This was stuff that should have happened in Luca's second year, but hasn't, and it's just been a delayed change. And for as much as I agree, I think we all want to see an OG, a Mikhail Bridges, Pascal, Pat Williams, like, name whoever it is, a wing, a center, who it is. But I think even if you put one of those guys on this team, I don't think it doesn't solve all of our issues. I think it improves it, right? I think we get better, but I don't think it solves the issues. And then I think you kind of go back to the same thing you have, right? If you're trading a ton of players and a ton of picks for one guy, how do you improve the roster again
Right.
from there?
Right. Like I like the Mavericks depth has pissed me off for the past 2 games, but I by and large like the depth. I just want someone either to do better or in a specific mention of Dante Exum, a guy get more fucking minutes. Like
Yeah, for sure. I think Exum should get more minutes, and I think especially some of it felt weird. The rotations at the beginning of the season felt good, and now they're just feeling really wonky, and it feels like he's kind of just putting lineups out there to put them out there instead of real thought and decide. Like it feels like a reversion to last season. The beginning of the fourth quarter was such a weird lineup. Like you had Dante, Kyrie, Derek Jones, and I think Dwight and someone. Maybe it was Grant out there, but I don't remember. And it was a weird lineup because Kyrie was really the only guy I would have felt confident in shooting a three, and you were down so much. And I get it. It felt like some of those lineups last season where I was like, oh, I'm going to a defensive lineup, and it felt like I don't know really how much more defense you're going to improve with that lineup, but it is a long season, so I'm not necessarily going to overreact. And I think some of the calls for Omax to play, I think, are interesting, but I also feel like it's the same. It feels like a lot of repeat.
I don't see where Omax is a pretty incredible defender, but where he best served his time in college was basically shutting down a guy off ball. He had very few blocks, very few steals, because he would essentially play like shut down corner and take a guy out of the game. The Mavericks are getting crushed on their help. They're getting beat on single dribble stuff where a guy decides to put his head down. I don't necessarily think he would hurt that, but I don't think he's like the solution that's like waiting in the wings. No, maybe he is. I would like to see him try. But the point of attack defender was largely supposed to be Josh Green, based off of, coming in from the World Cup and looking really good, and just hadn't been it so far.
Maybe I agree. I agree. I think in the summer I kind of pointed out what we wanted, right? The hope was Josh and Omax. I don't think it'd be that now, but you want them to replicate what Reggie and Dorian did, where Reggie was your POA defender and Dorian was more of your man defender. Dorian had, whoever was.
I think I'm just gonna call the stream. Call it off. I'm too tired.